The information you are about to take part of has been classified since 1945. On December 27, 2024, the following documents were approved for public release. Nothing in the following documents has been changed or altered. The information has simply been placed and sorted in chronological order.
The story begins on a cold September morning in 1849. Just outside Stockholm, there was an accident in the old silver mine. Only one young errand boy got out in time. The rest of the workers got trapped inside. When help finally arrived, the young boy could barely speak. Frightened, he stuttered, "I think it's human blood. The whole mine is flooded." For years, a local priest named Jönsson had begged the miners to stop digging this man-made hell. But none of the men had listened, and now no one got the chance to say farewell. At the funeral, the priest said that the miners had dug too deep. Something bound by the rock had been set free. Something from a nightmare that won't let you sleep. From the mining hole rose a stench of something cursed and rotten. Pretty soon, the mine was sealed off and for a long time forgotten. No one thought it would be a problem to build a cemetery on top of the old mine. Even though the soil was dark as blood, no one saw it as a bad sign. But between life and death runs only a thin line. A cold September morning in 1945, an old woman by the name of Mary went to put flowers at her beloved husband's grave at the cemetery. The grave was located on what was known as the cemetery's west side. When she kneeled down, she found that the grave was opened from the inside. During the investigation, a young prominent police officer named Dave found what would appear to be footprints leaving the grave. When he looked closer, he saw that the grave led to a cave. The men handed Dave a rope and he descended into the darkness. When they pulled him up, all they found was a ripped harness. The last thing that was ever heard from Dave was a terrifying scream. One of the men looked down in the grave and swore he saw a blood stream. Then it sounded like a roaring creature vomiting in the grave. And like a volcano, out of the grave shot a blood wave, leaving the cemetery shrouded in a mist of something cursed and rotten. The military was called in, and pretty soon the grave was sealed off and for a long time forgotten. A cold winter morning in 1959, during the construction of Stockholm's second subway line, screams were heard echoing in the tunnel. The workers had drilled into the old forgotten silver mine. The tunnel was soon flooded with something red that sure as hell was not wine. Workers ran for their lives, but 3 men got their boots stuck in the mud. An autopsy was done. The conclusion: the men had drowned in human blood. Officials denied the story, But the project manager had to resign. And even today, the subway line goes by the name of the Red Line. During 1965 and 1969, 12 people were reported gone missing at the subway station Östermalmstorg. The station is one of the deepest, located 38 meters underground. The tunnels were searched by police and railroad men, but the 12 missing people were never to be found. In the winter of 1976, subway drivers reported seeing ghosts in the tunnels. No one believed them until a young couple was hit by a ghost train. When the police stormed the platform to arrest the driver, he and his train went up in thin air. People stood in shock. It was like the driver and the train had never been there. The chief of police stood powerless with fear in his face. The city had had enough. In secret, the mayor hired a psychic to solve the case. A local undertaker signed a secret contract to dig up coffins in the police cemetery and transport them down the subway platform. The station was then locked up for the whole night. Witnesses outside the station said they heard screams and sound of a gunfight. All information about how the case was closed was stored away in a now forgotten locked box. But with the right key, you can read that the only ones who can stop ghost murderers are the ghosts of dead cops.
Eller så vi får nog hålla på till framåt i alla fall. Ja, ikväll handlar det alltså om tunnelbanan, Stockholms kroppspulsåder som vi har så mycket nytta av och så mycket problem med. Och eftersom det är tisdag så kommer det Drutten och krokodilen. Saga om ungefär.
Ja, ungarna säger att drycken har blivit farlig. Att den har förvandlats till ett människoätande odjur.
Göma fixar biffen. Spaken direkt kopplad till Forsmark. 2000 megawatt likström förvandlar tunnelbanemonster till grillbuffé. Oj då. Den stöten gick i stöten. Gena fick en stöt i nosen.
Tåg mot Ropsten. Tåg mot Ropsten. Nästa Östermalmståg.
Försök inte fixa biffen. Det blir bara pannkaka. SL, din säkerhet, vårt ansvar. Med anledning av säkerhetsarbete får inga barn åka eller vistas i tunnelbanan mellan den 10 september och den 8 november.
Gamen heter det.
Fattar till slut. Rolf Cederlöv, du är före detta sotare och numera bassångare på Operan.
Ja.
Är du rädd när du åker tunnelbanan?
Ja, jag är glad att jag inte åker så mycket tunnelbana, måste jag säga. Men rädd är jag inte. Det är ingen som har sprungit på mig ännu.
Nej, men det kan jag säga.
Ja, men de är ju flera stycken, va, då. Men visst är man lite skraj. Det vet man ju, vad som händer. Man läser och ser också när man är där. Så big är man ju inte precis. Jag hoppas att jag får gå i fred fortsättning.
Nu har Göran Elvin kommit in till oss från Studio S. Göran, ni gör också program om tunnelbanan.
Nej, det finns ju de med spädare röster än Rolf här och de är ännu räddare än vad han är. Och Vi har faktiskt plockat fram en del hemliga siffror som gäller våldet i tunnelbanan och det har ju tilltagit rätt avsevärt. Så därför tycker jag att det är värt ett program. Och så är det obehagligt, va? Det tycker jag som åker tunnelbana och kanske du också tycker.
Ja, det tycker jag faktiskt.
9000 sönderskurna per år, det är 200-300 om dagen det. Så det tar vi upp bland annat och vi har åkt iväg ut till ett
For many years, nothing strange was reported from the underground. People felt safe riding the red subway line. But things drastically changed in the fall of 1989. A young, prominent graffiti writer got lost in the subway tunnel. There was a search and rescue at the bottom of the city's concrete jungle. A local reporter named Jönsson asked the chief of police if he had any hope of finding the kid alive. The chief replied he thought there was a great chance. When asked about the rumors of something cursed and rotten in the tunnels, he irritatedly shook his head and firmly dismissed it as nonsense. 1 week later, all the police had found were 3 blood-stained spray cans. If you want to stay alive, take my advice. Never ride the red subway line.
I Efterlyst ikväll.
Mobiltelefonen allt hetare spår i sökandet efter 30. Det här är Efterlyst.
Exakt klockan 4:46 kommer ett anonymt samtal till SOS-centralen i Stockholm.
SOS 112, vad har inträffat? Hallå?
Vi är här på i tunnelbanetunneln vid Östermalmstorg.
Ni är på Östermalmstorgs tunnelbanestation?
Nej, vi är på UE i tunnelbanetunneln.
Va?
Vi är på Urban Exploration i tunnelbanetunneln.
Okej.
Ja, vi var alltså på spökperrongen som aldrig byggdes klart på Östermalmstorg.
Är någon skadad?
Nej, ja, jag tror vi är okej. Vi såg dem så, jag vet, något väldigt konstigt rörde sig. Nu har vi klättrat upp på en stege, ett ventilationsschakt, nödutgång eller vad det är. Men det är låst, vi kommer inte ut.
Okej, och vad var det ni såg, sa du? Ett djur?
Ja, jag vet inte fan, men stort var det.
Okej, kan det vara en råtta?
Matte, ser du vad som är där?
Hallå?
Matte, ser du något där nere? Matte, ser du någonting?
Hallå?
Det klättrar upp. Det klättrar. Åh, här. Det kommer inte klättra.
Hallå?
Herregud!
Hallå? Hör du mig? Hallå? Är du kvar?